So if you are one of my 7 subscribers and you've been keeping up with my videos, you most likely noticed that a few weeks ago I posted a video about how to get better at speaking on camera. And I thought this is the perfect time for me to reflect back on my first YouTube video, now that it has been around 2.5 months, to see both the progress that I've made as well as point out some mistakes or big errors I feel like that I made while recording that didn't make my video quality up to par or as good as they are now. You know, as time has gone on and I've been able to improve. Now I'm doing this for 2 reasons. Number one is if you're just starting out on YouTube and you want to know how to get better at talking on camera, it's better to take advice from someone who has gone through that initial experience of, you know, ripping off the band-aid and starting out and seeing how painfully bad my first video is compared to how much progress I've made only 2.5 months later, as well as knowing what mistakes I made and to not repeat them yourself. The second reason I did it is in another video that I posted, I talked about making sure to track metrics besides just viewers, subscribers, comments, and likes. This way you stay motivated because you're seeing progress and you're seeing improvements in your content. So as it has been, 2.5 months now, it is the perfect time for me to look back at the progress that I've made, see how much better I've gotten at talking to the camera, and help you guys out. So what we're gonna do, I'm not gonna put you through the painful experience of watching that whole first video. I'm going to play the first minute and a half of that video in about a few seconds. And once it starts, after that's over, I'm gonna talk about the mistakes that I made, and I'm going to see if you're able to point them out actually as you're watching that video. See if you can tell what mistakes I made, kind of things that could have been better. And I'm going to mention them after that 1 minute clip plays. This way you don't repeat these errors. Check it out. Welcome to the first video on my channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down, is college worth it? From the perspective of someone, myself, who just recently graduated. I graduated about 1 year ago today. The reason I thought of this question is because I've been seeing so many people giving their opinions on college. It's a very hotly contested topic, kind of in the finance, making money niche side of things. But what I did notice is that most of the people giving their opinion are people who are, selling courses or who didn't go to university themselves. And they sell their courses by anchoring the price of their course versus the college price, the price with college tuition. Now, college tuition obviously being super expensive, so then they tell you, look, you can pay just $1,000 for my course instead of paying $50K for a college education, and I'll teach you way more, right? So it's called the anchoring effect, and it works, right? It works for a lot of people. And in this... Okay, so number one, obviously, you probably were able to tell us right away, don't record videos in your car if you are going to be in a noisy area. Even through that first minute, you can hear cars passing by, there's like wind outside, birds, people walking by, a bunch of outside noise, and also that poses a distraction because I'm constantly looking around, not making eye contact. I think that's kind of common sense. I mean, anyone knows better than to do that. I think the reason why I did that was I wanted that to be my video style, kind of recording in the car, but then I realized there was too many external things conditions that I couldn't control. So I said, you know what, let me take myself back to my room where there's no outside noise, where my voice is gonna sound good. But anyways, let's get that out the way. The first mistake that I feel like I made was I was blinking a lot. Now, maybe you didn't notice this, maybe it was subtle, but I feel like when you blink a lot, or at least me watching back that video, when I was blinking a lot, it displayed a lack of confidence or lack of self-assurance. Of course, it was my first YouTube video, I was just getting comfortable with it. But when you record your first video, try to keep or maintain eye contact with the camera as well as you can. Of course, sometimes you're gonna, look down as you're thinking or look up as you're thinking. But through the course of your, your dialogue or your speech, try to maintain direct eye contact with the camera without blinking too often. Number two, this one frustrated me so much when I watched it back, and it probably frustrated, the 10 people that watched that video. But don't make noises with your mouth, right? I don't know if you do this usually when you talk, but in that video I was going like, like that a lot, and as I watched it back, it frustrated me. I was like, this is so annoying. I would not be able to stand through a video of someone doing that. And I do have, a little bit of an excuse for this, is that first video, I wanted to go unfiltered, unedited. I wanted to just make a video as raw as possible. And of course, I still try to make my videos as raw as possible, but I do, edit a little bit you know, here and there. If I make an annoying noise with my mouth, or if I run out of, if my mouth gets really dry and I need some water, or I stutter or something, I usually just cut that out. But try your best to not, I just kind of did it again. Try your best to not make mouth noises as much as possible. Now, these things that I'm going to mention, some of them I still haven't fully improved on them. Right? Few of them I've gotten way better, like not blinking when I talk to the camera a lot. I blink like normally, I don't blink constantly. But this, with making the sounds with my mouth, I still haven't been able to completely get over it. So these things that I'm mentioning, some of them I'm still progressing towards. But there's also some that I've already gotten through, and that's nice to kind of look back on. Number 3, and this is something I'm realizing more and more even when I just talk with people. Try to reduce the amount of times you say, you know, when you're thinking, when you're trying to get a thought together, formulate a thought, we often make that noise to reduce the awkward silence. But I realized that good speakers actually kind of embrace that awkward silence after they say something. If they need a second to recollect their thoughts or think of what they're going to say next, they usually just pause like that, and they let what they just said kind of settle in for the person who's listening, instead of doing the or the because it displays a lack of professionalism. Another thing you can do is kind of just pause a little bit and kind of just look to the ground, get your thoughts together, and then bring it out. Obviously, like I said in the first point, try to maintain eye contact as much as possible, but sometimes you do kind of need to pause and recollect your thoughts and get yourself back together before you say the next thing. But any of that is better than or like, the filler words, or because those sound extremely unprofessional, and it makes it seem like you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't have a coherent or a fluid source of thoughts, or a fluid source of ideas, or you didn't really prepare for the talk that you're doing. Now, these things, you're not going to be able to do them from the first video you make. The first video, be prepared. It's okay. Just embrace the first video being terrible, rip off the band-aid, get over it. I promise you, no one is going to watch that first video. If you don't want to edit it like I did, don't edit it, so then you can look back at all the faults and try to improve on those things. But it's completely normal to, within the first up to 1 year, make a ton of these mistakes. I still make a ton of mistakes right now that I'm going to look back on in another 2.5 months and say, hey, I need to improve that, or that was really good, let me continue doing that. But just know that improvements are going to come. Another main reason why I made this video is that so you can see how quickly I was able to improve in only 2.5 months. You can do the same thing. I was not someone who was, you know, had practice speaking to a camera, or was very outgoing or an extrovert, or it's very talkative. It was something that I completely learned. Everything, all this progress has been made in 2.5 months. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you take these tips or learning lessons that I did this as much as I did it for you guys. I also did it for myself, so that I can see the improvements I made and feel proud of myself, because this is the main metric I'm tracking. It's being consistent with my uploads and getting better at recording videos. The way I track getting better at recording videos is the amount of edits I make afterwards. So if I don't do any of these things that I mentioned, then I have no edits, right? And it's a quick process. Maybe I cut 1 thing, 2 things, upload the video. And another reason I did this is, of course, so you guys can improve, so you can take some thoughts away from this. And please just get started, man. Just get started. The first video is going to suck. Go watch your favorite YouTuber, go to their videos, click on oldest, go back, watch that first video they made, and you will see, compare that to the most recent one they made, you're going to see the drastic improvement. So if you think you're going to just turn off the camera and be perfect, YouTube is not for you. Just don't even start, don't even turn it on. But if you're willing to learn, you're willing to grow, and you're willing to put yourself in an uncomfortable spot, albeit for a short period of time, and learn a very, very valuable skill of storytelling, of being confident enough to put yourself out there, and of speaking to the camera, it is going to pay dividends later on in life. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.